Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder. This week, we've eschewed our normal pattern of one new and one old because, quite frankly, when we go to the streaming services and can't see a new movie that looks interesting, we can double dip on the 80s.
Indeed, yes.
Well, actually, one of these is the 90s.
One 80s, 190s. Yeah, I'm not making any complaints. Yes, if you are returning, welcome back. If you're new, what we do here is we critique stuff, and we try to let you know if something is worth your time or if you should skip it. And this week we've got some very interesting and very classic movies. And to start us off, we're talking about Labyrinth.
Dance, magic dance.
Dance, yes. Yes, Jim Henson's attempted doing a dark and somewhat edgy movie.
Yep. I had never seen this movie before or had the opportunity to see this movie before, honestly.
I hadn't either. I had heard about it, but I never really had much desire to watch it. Not because I don't like Jim Henson or David Bowie or anything like that. I just wasn't really on my radar.
Yeah, and I think I see why. I mean, it's known for David Bowie being in it, of course.
Yeah.
As Jareth.
Yes,
the evil ruler of the goblins.
Yes. The only thing I really knew about it was that everybody talked about how creepy he was being around Jennifer Connelly, who's the girl in the movie. And she was only like 15 at the time.
Right. So I think there's a level where the movie was kind of playing with her desire to be an adult, or to at least be independent.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. I think that people, how to put this, that doesn't make me sound like I'm some sort of. Actually, it's called hebephilia because they're teenagers. I think that in a fantastic setting like this, you sometimes have to put aside certain aspects of morality just because it is about her. It is about her temptations to give up on her existing responsibilities.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess we should. That's a nice little segue to the plot of the movie, where we've got Jennifer Connelly's character, Sarah, and she's she's a teenage girl who likes to kind of retreat off into like fantasy worlds, and but she's stuck at home babysitting her infant brother, and she's very resentful of it. And then she rattles off some litany that she wishes that the Goblin King would come and take her little brother away. And sure enough, that's exactly what happens. And Jareth, the Goblin King, David Bowie shows up and tells her, you've got 13 hours. If you want your brother back, you've got 13 hours to get him, or he's going to turn into a goblin. And so Sarah has to navigate through the labyrinth to try to get to the Goblin City. And along the way, much like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, she meets some companions along the way. There's a lot of danger and a lot of bad stuff happening all around her. And so, I think that's essentially the plot of the movie.
Yep, it is very clearly influenced by the Wizard of Oz, and it's definitely very early on. You have to accept, okay, you can ask all sorts of questions like about the world building, like Why does she happen to know about the Goblin King? Why does there seem to be a play that she's been practicing that's about the Goblin King
Yeah.
that has words that have power? Could this happen to anybody? Why was the Goblin King watching her? It's like, nope, nope, cut it out. It's a fairy tale in the classic sense.
Yeah.
Usually all for logic and plot consistency, but there are times when you can just leave that on the wayside because that isn't the point of the story.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 As oh god, I can't remember his name over at Red Letter Media. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, except that we're not just here to consume product because this isn't slop, of course. This is just the care was put in a different place.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that different place was Jim Henson and his Muppeteers, I guess,
Yeah.
coming up with every crazy thing that they couldn't do in a Muppet movie or Muppet show to try to build out this labyrinth.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and they succeeded. And hey, I've mentioned this before, but good to see you, Arcos.
Hey, Arcos.
Yeah, and yeah, the puppetry and the special effects are really good in this movie. You know, they're certainly believable. And I will say there are a couple of parts in there where like the obvious green screen effect was a little too obvious.
Right, like one time when they meet the tribe that can rip their heads off, the back of their throat or back of one of their throats must have been the key color for the green screen because you could kind of see through them.
Yeah.
So there are definitely a couple of seams here and there.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, it holds up pretty well.
That is the nice thing about practical effects is they don't age in the same way.
Right. Yeah. And I'm actually looking at there was a trailer on IMDb. It looks like Labyrinth is coming back to theaters on starting tomorrow through the 11th for the movie's 40th anniversary. So,
Huh.
yeah.
I did not hear anything about that, so I guess we're in a good position to review this thing.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I mean, I can see why people, you know, who grew up in the 80s are nostalgic for this movie. Especially if you were a young man coming of age and you know, seeing Jennifer Connelly. Yeah.
I would not be surprised if this movie with her in it awakened a lot of little boys.
Yeah. The other thing too, you mentioned you know, of course, David Bowie playing the Goblin King. Of course, he's more known for his music than his acting, and he composed and sung many of the songs for the movie, which have gotten pretty good, you know, staying power, I guess, over the last you know, 4 decades.
Yeah, to my surprise, I had heard all the songs in this movie. Now I'm sure I heard about them in like music, like anime music videos, like AMV Hell or clips in parody videos or whatever. But like they were all kind of familiar.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what else I have to say about this movie. I really don't have much to say about it.
What did kind of strike me as I was watching it was that they don't make movies like this anymore, and I don't know that there would be an appetite for movies like this anymore because there is a limit to how good a Muppet can look, to if you get me.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I'd say is like the classic Muppet crew, like Kermit and Fozzie and everybody, they are kind of easy puppets because they aren't trying to look too realistic.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the Muppets in this one, well, they are okay. A lot of the puppets, I should say, in this one do kind of bang up against the uncanny valley in places. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to quickly pull up a picture here of Hoggle,
Oh yeah.
who's probably the best character.
Yeah.
So it's like you can tell that Hoggle is not entirely normal, but he isn't like he's weirdly realistic. But you can also tell that there's something off about him as you're watching. In a way that wouldn't really exist if it was just a fully animated production, or if they had a CGI dwarf next to her.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that would look a little. Well, yeah, like the Snow White movie.
Okay, that's a bad example.
Yeah.
Assume good CGI.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And again, just because these characters are trying to approach more realism, some of them do look a little bit off.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I would say it's the pace is a bit deliberate, and I'm not saying it's slow or bad or anything. Just so I was watching a review years ago of the Thunderbolts, which was made by using mannequins, or some mannequins, excuse me, using puppets,
Right. Yeah.
marionettes. That's the word I was trying to think of. And the reviewer pointed this out, and I haven't been able to stop seeing this whenever I see a production like this ever since. He noted that in the episode, every scene went on for a bit too long because, look, we had to make a fake snow, or we had to make a fake mountainside with fake snow and a bunch of trees, and we're not going to just spend 30 seconds here.
Yeah.
They put so much loving effort into the labyrinth and all of the settings in the labyrinth. Like, you're not going to just breeze by a location too fast. It's like, if we made the what was the name of the stinky swamps, the stench swamp?
Yeah, the eternal stench, I think. Something like
the
that.
Swamps of Eternal Stench. You're not going to just get one scene in these Swamps of Eternal Stench.
Yeah.
We're going to hang out there for a while.
Yeah. Or the forest that they're walking through. They're like, yeah, we spent a lot of time building that forest.
Yep, we're going to use it. Darn it.
Yeah.
I think my favorite character was actually Ludo, the big Yeti.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah. Yeah, who could talk? He could talk to rocks.
Yes. Also, there's a character who's looks like a small, not Pyrenees, but like not that's a big dog, some sort of like Pomeranian type thing that who's a knight who rides on another dog. I swear that's the dog from Fraggle Rock.
Oh, it might have been. Yeah.
It's like one of those mop dogs.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. What got me was the dog looked just like her dog at the beginning of the movie, Merlin.
Yeah, and yet they didn't really connect that at all.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's another way that this is like the Wizard of Oz. And you were there. And you were there.
Right. Yeah. I will say too, the ending really didn't make much sense. Like, was it a dream, or was it like she off in her own little fantasy world, or is she still like daydreaming? Like,
right? Did the movie actually happen?
Right. Yeah.
Because you could make an argument about that, because it is kind of coincidental that the phrase that she memorized from her script book happened to be what needed to, spoiler alert, what happened to be needed to banish the Goblin King.
Yeah.
It's like maybe she just finally snapped and decided to live in fantasy since reality wasn't quite her thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some ambiguity there. Hey Ninja, good to see you.
Hey Ninja.
Yeah.
I will also say this is one of those movies where coming across it as an adult without any nostalgia for it, I just thought it was kind of okay. It's more interesting to me as like a piece of art than an actual story.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're definitely watching it for the puppetry and the music.
And wondering how they did certain things. Like there's a scene where there's a giant clockwork knight that, or steam powered knight, I should say, that is
Yeah.
just so impressive.
Mm.
Like the fact, I mean, I did notice that they kind of showed the legs, and they but never showed the legs moving at the same time as the main body moving.
Right. Yeah.
But they were still doing like clear scale things, like it looming over them like 3 or 4 times their height.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would probably say that if you grew up on the Labyrinth, go give it another watch. Is like Daniel was saying, it is going to theaters pretty quick.
Yeah.
So take somebody who hasn't seen it before and have an experience.
Yeah.
My main interest in it ended up being based on just watching the puppetry and seeing what they could dream up and make happen. And they were very heavily worked people over at Jim Henson's in the 80s because, multiple Muppet shows, multiple Muppet movies. Um, I forget if this came before or after Fraggle Rock, but, just
I think it was after. Let me look. The Fraggle Rock.
like and of course they had Sesame Street. They were doing puppetry for movies that needed a Muppet character, kind of like Yoda in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, that does remind me. The movie opens with, I wonder if it's one of like the first CGI opening sequences for a movie because they had this surprisingly good CGI model of an owl in flight.
Yeah. Might have been. Yeah. Yeah. So Fraggle Rock was before this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that does make it plausible that it was the same dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But that owl for a 1986 movie, that was a surprisingly good and fluid CGI thing. Also, it looked like Lucasfilm was involved with this one.
Yeah. George Lucas was an executive producer.
Yeah, so that's I kind of, man, it kind of sucks that we don't have an independent Muppet company. I firmly believe that. Okay, so Jim Henson always thought that he could sell the company to Disney and they'd be the best stewards of it. This has clearly not been the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
I swear Disney bought it mostly because they just didn't want to deal with the competition anymore.
I think that's very true. Yeah. Yeah, they certainly did a pretty good job of erasing them from Disney World.
Yeah. Well, speaking of relics from the 1980s,
Yes.
Daniel, you finally got to finish the fight.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So who is this gang of 40 somethings in the picture here?
Well, I wanted to use a different image for the Stranger Things season 5 series finale, and it was I wanted to use Nancy Wheeler, who's like, I didn't mention this in the previous review, but she's this it's one of the girls who's like 5'0", weighs about 90 pounds, soaking wet, and they turned her into Rambo,
as they do.
Yeah, I mean, she even has Rambo's hairstyle. But yeah, so pictured here going from left to right, we got Nancy's brother Mike, then we got Steve in the middle, and then in the back is Robin. She's the lesbian, and then on the far right,
I do like girls.
Yes, I do like girls. And then on the far right's Jonathan Byers, who is Will Byers, the kid who came out of the closet in the last episode. That's his older brother. And I mentioned this, I've said this before. I will say it again. Too many characters in this show to keep track of. I can barely keep track of a lot of them, and the big reason for that is because they're like very homogenized. There's very little to keep them distinct.
That we in the business we call that a problem.
Yes. And I will say, you know, Steve and Dustin seem to be like those two are probably my favorite ones, and I still maintain they should have their own spinoff, but they're not getting their own spinoff because apparently they're not doing any, or they are doing a Stranger Things spinoff, but it's not going to be with any of the characters from the show. But yeah, so the series finale, we our plucky band of heroes decide to go to Vecna, the villain. They decide to go to his home world to defeat him once and for all, because they find out that the Upside Down is actually just a wormhole to go from Earth to this other planet. So they go up to this other planet and they fight this giant spider, and Bush is the mind flare that Vecna's hooked up to along with the kids, and there's this big battle, and which, by the way, some people pointed out the final battle is shorter than Will's coming out scene.
You got to have your priorities.
I know, and but of course, so some spoilers here. Not that you probably guess. They were successful. They defeat the bad guy.
The world isn't destroyed.
I know. And of course they succeed in that, but then they still have the military to contend with, and we've come to realize that Linda Hamilton's character, Dr. K, probably one of the most useful characters, or useless characters, in all of TV, because she really doesn't do anything. She's just there to, I don't know. They set her up to be this secondary villain, but she really doesn't do anything, and nothing really happens with the military.
It's kind of like how they wrote her off of Resident Alien in the last season.
Oh,
Use time travel.
Yes, yeah. Ninja says, so it's faster than Maduro's extraction. Yeah.
I believe that took 36 minutes. So.
Yeah.
So there are people who probably ordered Uber Eats when they went down to, or sat down to watch this episode, where it took less time than to extract a Central American dictator.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Latin American dictator, because on the North of South America, not in Central America.
Right. Yeah. So then they, of course, in the course of things, it appears as though 11 dies. Our psychic girl, and she does this because she thinks that the military and everybody, they're never going to leave her alone, never leave any of the other people, and the rest of her friends and her family alone. So it appears as though she dies. And then we have this like 45-minute, like about half of the episode is the denouement, where it's like the aftermath of everything. And we flash forward, I think, like 18 months, where the kids are all graduating from high school. And strangely enough, Max, who's the red-haired girl, she graduates with them, even though she was in a coma for 2 years.
She made it up in summer school. That's
oh yes, yeah. But then, of course, then the show ends where it begins, where the kids are all down in Mike's basement playing, doing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, so it's, in the words of George Lucas, it's like poetry. They rhyme.
I did see jokes about, like, what if the whole thing was just a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. It's like, What do you mean roll a saving check against coming out?
Yeah. Yeah. But then of course Mike comes to the realization that 11 may have faked her death, and then you see her wandering off to some village in Norway with 3 waterfalls, because she and Mike talked about running away to a village with 3 waterfalls. And that's it. That's the end of the show. I mean, it's, any series finale for a TV show is going to be difficult to do, because no matter how long, depending on how long the show's been on, you've got like a whole lot of storylines and plot lines that you got to wrap up. And, some shows are able to pull it off, some aren't. I would say overall, this was kind of a disappointment, just because of the fact that there's still some kind of lingering questions, some plot holes that really weren't like explained very well, and you had just some, there's just a lot of loose ends. Like I said, a lot of loose ends that were tied up.
Also sounded like there was an awful lot of fluff to the last season.
There was, yeah. I talked about that last week on the when I reviewed the middle 3 episodes. That like there was just all these freaking therapy sessions, and all the characters talking about their feelings, and it's just like, oh, okay, I need a 10-minute scene of Jonathan and Nancy breaking up, or a almost 7-minute scene of a 16-year-old kid coming out of the closet, like
That apparently took them 12 hours to film.
Yeah, it's just, but yeah, I mean, judging from like how the show started and then how it ended, there was definitely a precipitous decline, which I've seen with a lot of streaming shows, where they'll have like a really strong first season, and then after that, it just kind of starts to really fall off.
I mean, there's a level where it's very easy to come up with an interesting premise, but you don't always have an idea of where you're actually going with it.
Yeah, and it sounds like the Duffer Brothers really didn't have any idea where they were going to go with this. And they created this uber villain, this who's kind of like this Thanos level threat, and he turned out to be kind of a nothing burger. So
Yeah. So as somebody who never watched more than the 1 episode of Stranger Things, is he I kind of get Gozer from Ghostbusters vibes off of Vecna. Is that kind of fair comparison? Or
yeah, kind of, yeah. That's a good comparison. Trying to think of another. I can't really think of any other villain that would be a good comparison, but yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
yeah, it kind of just sounds like. So I haven't really heard from anybody who was really satisfied by the ending. Was it the worst thing ever, or just not terribly great?
It just wasn't terribly great. Yeah. Of course,
So it wasn't like it was like a big slap in the face or anything. It was just you were whelmed.
Right. Yeah, I was whelmed. Yeah. And of course, I didn't watch Game of Thrones, so I don't know. Like, I know that finale was really bad. I know there have been like other TV show finales that have been disappointing. Although I will say that this was better than the finale of Star Trek Enterprise.
In so much as it got a finale. Wait,
Well,
no,
yeah,
that's
a proper
no,
film.
wait, no. Now I'm remembering that episode. Oh God, oh
Yeah.
God, yes. Where they made it about the Next Generation crew instead.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it is what it is.
It do what it do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for a streaming show to at least end on a meh instead of completely pissing you off, some might say that's as good as it gets.
Yes.
Yeah. Undefeated transition champion
Yes.
2020 to 2026.
Yes. Nice. Yes. So yeah, we watched yeah, As Good as It Gets, the uh comedy drama from the late 90s, starring Jack Nicholson, uh and along with Helen Hunt, Greg Kinnear, and Cuba Gooding Jr. in a very small role. Of
But a
course,
pretty memorable one.
yeah, yeah. And so the movie, of course, is
Oh, if
memorable.
you don't mind, a couple of other interesting
Oh yeah.
cameos. You had Brian Doyle Murray as the handyman, who
Oh
people
yeah.
might remember as the boss from Christmas Vacation, the Flying Dutchman from SpongeBob, and Bill Murray's brother.
Yes. Oh, and
And
uh, Yardley Smith.
yep,
Yeah. Who? Those of you who don't know, she's the voice of Lisa Simpson on The Simpsons. Um, and I think she was cast in the movie because it was written and directed by James L. Brooks, who was one of the
oh yeah, so it
yeah
was okay.
yeah one of the big producers of The Simpsons. And yeah, and who else was in here? I think that's really everybody. But yeah, so so the movie is famous for this one scene that I've actually played it on our old show, Tuesdays with Story. This scene right here.
How do you write women so well?
I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability.
Just the look on her face as she has her dreams crushed.
Yeah. Of course, that line is there because Jack Nicholson's character, Melvin Udall, is a very successful romance novelist, and he's kind of like right up there with like Stephen King and James Patterson.
Right, he has finished his 60-second book.
Yeah,
as the movie starts.
Yeah, and as of course he suffers from obsessive compulsive disorder to a like a clinical degree. He's got to do everything in fives. He washes his hands with different bars of soap multiple times in scalding hot water.
Right, he has like a bunch of fresh bars of soap. He takes off the bar of soap out of its plastic wrap, gives himself a quick wash under the scalding water, tosses it out, and gets the next bar of soap for additional washing.
Yes.
And I think that if they'd had any other actor but Jack Nicholson playing him, he would have just been completely hateable from the start.
Right. Yeah.
Because the way it starts is, so this is a movie that I had never known anything about, but I had seen this cover in every video store from Blockbuster in the 90s to like the DVD section at supermarkets in the 2000s, the 2010s. So I was like, that image right there is burned into my head, but I'd never known what this movie was about.
Right. Yeah.
The movie starts with this dog who's owned by Simon, Melvin's gay neighbor, played by Greg Kinnear,
Yeah.
running loose and about to pee in the hallway. And so Melvin's reaction is to just shove the dog down the garbage chute.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, and then from there we get we see how he interacts with people, which is just to be the biggest jerk on the planet, and not necessarily because he is a jerk, although he kind of is a jerk, but it's part of his condition.
So yeah, it's a very interesting characterization. Like the way I would put it is that So obsessive compulsive disorder, you have your rhythms that you want to do. Like he eats the same thing all the time. He goes to the same restaurant every day at the same time. He even gets upset if the same waitress isn't there.
Yeah.
And it's like when people are telling their sad stories or interacting with him, it's like he gets overwhelmed. And so his defensive mechanism he's come up with is to start being racist, anti-gay,
Anti-Semitic.
anti-Semitic, extremely mean.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I forgot about the anti-Semitic bit. He shows up at his restaurant early on in the movie, and there's a Jewish couple sitting at his table.
Yeah.
And so he decides to drive them off just by being as awful as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And
he's also too prideful to go, hey, I have really bad OCD. This is my chair. Can I please sit here?
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, his normal waitress is played by Helen Hunt. Her name is Carol. And she is a single mom living in Brooklyn. And her son is really sickly. He's got something wrong with him, but she doesn't know what it is. And so it's kind of, messing with her own life. And so one day, so that happens after that. Okay. So,
right. So this is basically a classic curmudgeon gets his heart embiggened story.
Right. Yeah.
It's like the first breach of the armor is the neighbor who is an artist ends up getting robbed and beaten by some people because I just want to make sure I'm not misremembering it because it's been a couple of days. Basically, one guy pretended to be a model, and then he kind of let in the other two to rob him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's beaten horribly, scarred, barely left alive, and they need somebody to look after the dog while he's in the hospital. Now, since Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character, who's like the building manager, had been so angry at him for the verbal assault he had given everyone, he says, "You know what? You're going to watch this dog."
Yeah.
And what I will give him credit for is that once he's forced to watch this dog, he's all in on it.
Yeah.
He's too lazy to cook something different for the dog or get dog food. So the dog just gets to eat steak and bacon like he does.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the other, of course, another quirk of his OCD is that he doesn't step on any cracks.
Yeah. So he's like walking down the street and I was like, he's doing a dance.
Yeah. And then as he's walking the dog starts stepping over the cracks. So he's like, "Oh, you're a good boy." And that's the scene of the poster where he's like, "Oh, you good boy."
Yeah. And I would say this is one that's worth watching. So I kind of want to, like, before we get deeper into the plot, I want to put a firewall here. I would say this is a movie that is very heartwarming. It can be funny in places. Now, often it's funny in places because he's such an asshole. You're just like, wait, did he just say that?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's just like a lot of other little moments of human comedy that are just so great. I don't have any complaints about a single performance in this thing.
No, I don't either. Yeah. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend it. Currently on Netflix. Yeah.
You may be forced to feel some feelings. That's the type of movie this is. You've been warned. This isn't pure happy-go-lucky time. And it is, and romance is a big part of it. So if any of that turns you off, stay away. But
yes,
it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay, now we can talk a bit more spoilers.
Yes.
So I'm going to admit, So he decides to start helping Helen Hunt's son, not necessarily out of kindness, but so she can go back to her job and be his waitress again.
Yeah.
And there's a bit after he's basically pays for this world-class doctor who's like the husband of his publisher to come in and personally to give a house call to examine her son and try to figure out what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
Which he concludes that your HMO didn't pay for allergy tests?
Yeah.
When you have somebody with awful asthma?
Yeah.
That puts him into the hospital a few times a month?
Yeah.
There's kind of a sadly funny scene early on where it looks like she's getting lucky after a night out, and then her son has an attack. And she comes back with like a little bit of vomit on her shirt, like, oh, what's a little throw up?
Yeah. And he said, well, too much reality for a Friday night.
Yep. But so Udall is helping her out, and she shows up at his apartment at like very early in the morning as he's watching Nick at Night.
Yeah.
And she says, I am not going to sleep with you. I am never going to sleep with you.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, is that his character is so weird and curmudgeonly that the thought never even occurred to me that he would want to.
Yeah. The other thing too about that scene was like, I don't know why, but so late 90s, early 2000s, Helen Hunt was kind of like the Pedro Pascal of that time. Like studios were putting her in movies all the time, usually a romantic lead.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. They always had to have a scene with her in a wet t-shirt with no bra. I don't know why they kept doing that to her.
Somebody started it and somebody decided it was fun to see if she would say no eventually.
Yeah. The other thing too, it says
like
a lot about
it would at least make more sense in a movie like Twister.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did it in this, this movie, and then Castaway. I don't know if you saw that movie.
I have not.
Well, she plays Tom Hanks' wife in that movie, and there's
there's
a scene at the end of the movie where she's in the middle of the rainstorm in a wet t-shirt with no bra. But it also says something too about New York City at that time, was that a woman like that can hop on a bus from Brooklyn to Manhattan in the middle of the night, and she doesn't get mugged
or worse.
Or worse. Yeah.
That's a good point. Well, this was after they started cleaning up New York, so
yeah. But yeah, and of course the other part of it too is with Greg Kinnear, Simon, after he gets beaten up, he loses all of his money, and he's broke, and so he has to contact his parents to try to see if they'll give him some money, and he ends up going on a road trip with Melvin and Carol down to Baltimore.
It is the funniest thing in this movie that he ends like that. Nicholson ends up being like rivals in affection with Kinnear, the gay man.
Yeah,
because like poor Greg Kinnear comes back from the hospital and all of the dog's affection has switched over to Nicholson.
Yeah.
gets cucked by his little toy dog.
Yeah.
Nicholson even gives him a bag of bacon, saying, "No, the reason he likes me is because I carry bacon with me when I visit him." Like, see, and like, there's Greg Kinnear with bacon trying to call him over. He still goes to Nicholson.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then to get revenge, after Nicholson's date with Helen Hunt goes pear-shaped in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Kinnear ends up walking in on her taking a shower, or taking a bath, and goes, "I have to draw you."
Yeah. Did you have sex with her?
It was closer than sex. You're the reason that cavemen etched on cave walls.
Oh, jeez.
Like he finally gets his artistic spark back, and it looks like he's completely driven all of Helen's affection for Nicholson. So it's like fair is fair, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, that bit, I recognized it immediately. Immediately, I went, "Wait, that was just a reference on Family Guy when they did that back in like the first season."
Yeah.
That actually made me like the Family Guy joke a bit less, because I thought that was just them being absurd with him wanting to draw some random construction worker
Yeah.
whose eyes were too close together. But no, it was a movie reference.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're giving Seth MacFarlane more creative credit than he deserves.
I know. Sidebar, I seriously wonder what the world would have been like if Seth MacFarlane hadn't managed to get Family Guy renewed, and he'd been forced to if he'd been that guy who had that cult classic animated comedy that tried to take on The Simpsons and failed, and then he had to go like work for other people. Like what his creative output would have been like.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's good. Could it either he would have been wildly successful, or he would have just spiraled out and into obscurity.
Yeah, it's just I do kind of feel like some of his problem is that because he got to be brought back again and kind of do the same thing. First off, Family Guy definitely felt different as soon as they ran out of unused scripts from the first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
He also kind of got full of himself for a bit there.
Oh yeah.
At least creatively.
Yeah, and then he started doing all those movies. He did like the Ted movies and that Western movie and
Million Ways to Die in the West. But,
yeah.
But okay, back to this movie.
Yes.
And so it does turn into a romantic movie, and I just loved the way that they characterized Nicholson throughout this, because again, like it's not that he didn't care; it's that it's like caring was physically hard for him because he just had such a hard time dealing with extraneous input that didn't fit his patterns.
Yeah. Which, that just, as somebody who is slightly compulsive myself, I can understand that.
Right, you just don't like surprises.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I enjoyed this movie. Quite a bit. I remember watching it. I think my family re-rented it when it came out on video, and enjoyed it, at the time. And I'd say it still holds up even after 20 almost 30 years. Oh
yeah. Now, there's a reason this was in every video store. It's because I could see somebody back in the days where you had to rent the VHS over and over again, wanting to rent it over and over again, and not realizing that you could just buy yourself a copy and save money and time in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I said it before, but I'll say it again. Yeah, go check this movie out.
Yep, currently on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Indeed, we have.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, buy some books, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.